start, I just want to let you guys know that this subject name might cause you to think that this would be a boring topic, but I promise it's not as boring as you might think. I'm going to explain how electricity works. I hope you get something out of this, and I hope that it's interesting to you guys. I'll explain how it's used, and I'll explain a little electrical safety as well as how to save a little bit of money on your electrical bill. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the basics of electricity. So atoms, magnetism, and how they relate to electricity. So we'll talk about atoms first. Atoms are very, very crucial to electricity because of the two charges. There's a third one, but the neutron it's not really, it doesn't do anything, so it's not important. The protons and electrons are important, mainly the electrons. The electrons are what make up current. And so, like, say you have a battery, here's the positive and the negative side. And then here's the wire, the circuit. You have the electrons are just kind of floating around, they're not motivated. And then the positive charge attracts them when the power source, the battery, is activated. So the voltage is pushing the electrons, giving them energy, and they're energizing and they're moving towards the positive node of that battery. And that's how electricity works, basically. Next we'll talk about semiconductors and conductors. So a semiconductor is something like silicon. Its ability to conduct electricity is in between a conductor and then an insulator. An insulator being like rubber or plastic or something that doesn't really conduct electricity. And then a conductor is something like copper. It conducts electricity so well that it has to be coated in an insulator to keep it confined to the wire. Because if it wasn't, then it could arc and it could hurt somebody. It'd be like kind of like a mini lightning strike, and that wouldn't be good. So next we'll talk about magnetism. Magnetism is a big deal, especially like electromagnets. You see those in motors, generators, headphones, loudspeakers, stuff like that. So you have a coil that's made out of copper or some other conductor. You put current through that, there's a magnet inside of that. The magnetism or the magnetic field, it grows with more current and gets smaller with less current. Electrical current determines which direction it's going, its polarity, if it's going right or if it's going left. Next, since I've talked to you about current and atoms and magnetism and all that, we'll talk about the different types of current. So you have alternating current, AC, DC current, that's direct current. We'll talk about DC first. So direct current, it's a type of current that's not distributed for long distances very well. It's distributed over short distances, at least efficiently. And it was created by a man named Thomas Edison. It only goes one direction, and it's not the best by itself. But then a man named Tesla came up with something called alternating current, AC. So AC current is distributed very well over long distances, and that's why it's better for powering things. And sometimes you'll see DC and AC together for powering more sophisticated things, and that's just so it's just done more efficiently. Next we'll talk about electrical safety and how electricity kind of affects our lives on a daily basis, and how to save a little money on your electrical bill. So electricity expenses, we'll talk about that first. When it comes down to it, essentially, the more power you use, the more money you're going to have to pay at the end of the month, or beginning of the month. So if you leave your lights on more, it's going to cost more. If you leave your washer, if you leave the hose in the washer and it's beeping at you to open it up and at least open the lid so it'll shut off, You know, before you've opened that lid, however long you've waited to open that lid, it's been using power. So it's been costing you more and more money. So things like that, leaving things on, letting things just run for no reason, is just going to cost you more money. If you minimize that, then you'll save the most money on your electrical bill. Now, for electrical safety, the thing with that is, the biggest thing is common sense. You need to think before you do, which is a good lesson for anything, really. But when it comes to electricity, say you have a charger cord or a cord that has an open, like it's kind of broken, the rubber that's on the end is kind of gone. Don't touch that while it's plugged in, because if you have any moisture on your hand or whatever, it can send electricity through you and to the ground, because that's where it goes, is from the power source to ground. And if you take in your body more, up anywhere around the 100 to 200 milliamps range, you could die, because electrical current is going through your body, through your heart, and down to the ground, and it's causing your heart to quiver, which means it's pumping, it's contracting so quickly, it's pumping so quickly that it's not actually pumping blood to your body, so you die almost immediately. So basically, the gist of what I'm trying to say is, just have common sense when you're messing with stuff. Don't touch any outlet or anything near an outlet. When your hands are wet, or you have any sort of moisture on your hands or anything, be careful around the old wiring or fuse boxes. Make sure the power's off on fuse boxes when you're messing with the fuse box. Yeah, just common sense is the basic thing for this. So I really hope you guys learned some things about electricity. I hope that you can apply this to your life, and you can also go and brag onto your friends, because now you're more educated in electricity, and they'll be like, oh, how did you know that? And then you can be like, well, Isaiah gave a presentation on this, and so you can use this now. Thank you guys for listening.